Justin and I met about 8 years ago. We've been married for 3 years. For me, I always knew I wanted to have kids, and that was something that attracted me to him when we first met, was that he was very involved with his family, and it was one of the first things that we talked about when we were dating. We found out we were pregnant in November of 2017, and it was just the best moment of our lives at that point. Just to know that we had this possibility of bringing a child into the world and fulfilling our dreams that we had had for so long. Fast forward to our 20-week ultrasound, and that's when we found out that Dax would be born with a critical congenital heart defect.
That really kind of took the wind out of our sails. We were so excited, and we didn't know what to expect. We were there at the appointment a little bit longer than we thought we'd be. Doctors, nurses, people trying to explain to us the situation and what would have to be done.
Dustin and I stepped aside, and he pulled me aside in the hallway, and we just sobbed. And he said to me, "We're keeping this baby, and we're gonna bring him into the world, and we're gonna give him the best life possible. We're gonna do this together, and our baby boy's gonna be okay, and we're gonna fight really hard for him." There was so much uncertainty and so many unknowns that it was terrifying. We knew that as soon as he would be born, he would be quickly taken to the neonatal intensive care unit. And we knew that a surgery would be necessary shortly after birth. When he was born and we heard him cry, it was the most beautiful sound in the world.
Euphoric, like her and I both were like crying and laughing and so happy to see him.
They took him to the NICU right away. He needed immediate treatment to keep him alive. We thought we were prepared. We were not prepared for what it felt like to see your child struggling to live. And we knew he was a fighter, but we didn't know how hard his fight was going to be. A couple of days after his birth, he started showing some signs of complications.
Every time we thought we were taking a step forward, we'd take 2 steps backwards. There was a reason we couldn't move on with the surgery, and he would, had an infection, or he would have a seizure, or they were worried about him, his breathing. He had a sleep apnea.
He had a stroke at one point, and it was just kind of this roller coaster of good news, bad news, good news, bad news, and the bad news was always so much worse than the good news was good. But we just had to sit back and watch and pray that he could fight, and he did. By day 11, they wheeled him off to surgery, and then we felt okay. We were very confident that they were going to get him better.
How can we use the best of the technology in ultrasound to produce a 3-dimensional heart from the fetus to take care of patients after they're born?
With Alejandro, we've been able to really print hollow hearts, and most importantly, run fluid through them that would typically mimic what we see in ultrasound. And I think understanding how things work prenatally or in utero help a lot to sort of figure out what happens immediately after birth. We were just at the beginning of this project when Ambert became our patient.
They repaired all 4 heart defects and closed his chest and brought him up to his room. It was incredible what they did for him.
Sometimes people donating or paying taxes, they don't see the benefit of what they're doing, and this directly affects the community.
I mean, the results are huge, because if we really get to simulate some conditions, and you're talking about medications that we can do in utero, other things, if we understand better, there's a lot of things that we could do.
He's just hit every milestone that he needed to hit physically. He's right on track. He's growing, he's eating well, he's doing all the things you want to see in a baby. I think the best part is that he is so happy.
And just the way that he would look at us, his eyes, the looks that he would have and give us were so intent.
He doesn't have any lasting effects from it right now. And they're telling us that he can be a normal kid, that he can do everything like a normal child would do. I've been involved with the American Heart Association for about 7 years. And all of those years that I spent meeting these families and getting to share their stories, I never could have imagined that we would be in that position.
It's kind of ironic, but in the same respect, it really makes us care that much more about the organization. I think this year it means more than ever to us, and I don't think we'll ever forget the help and care we received. And obviously, we'll always be a big part of the organization because of this.